Good morning. This is Scott LaMountain, Senior Community Developer with the Office of Community Renewal, and we'll be discussing public infrastructure, public facilities, planning, and microenterprise assistance programs today. This presentation will be provided in 3 sections. This includes a program summary, the application process, and finally, application tips. Presentation will begin with a program summary. New York State received CDBG funding with the intent of ensuring that communities throughout the state are viable by providing decent housing and suitable living environments for low and moderate income persons, and that at least 70% of New York State CDBG funds are used for activities benefiting low and moderate income persons, meaning that they're at or below 80% of the area's median income, and meets one of the following national objectives: benefits low and moderate income families, aids in the prevention or elimination of slums or blight, or meets an urgent community development need. CDBG funding is provided through a competitive application process. All CDBG awards are based on a 2-year time frame from award to completion, with 14 months for community planning. Eligible counties, cities, towns, and villages may apply for New York State CDBG funding assistance. Note that direct assistance is not provided by the OCR to any business, not-for-profit, or any individual. Allowable soft costs will vary based on the activity type. Those percentages are shown on the slide. Please note that there is not a soft cost allowance for community planning activities. CDBG funded projects must demonstrate compliance with one of the national objectives listed on the slide. LMA activities benefit an entire community and are considered to have an area-wide benefit in the service areas of the entire community, excluding social service residences. Activities that benefit a smaller or targeted group only benefit a designated area of the community. Based on this, for area benefit activities, such as public infrastructure projects, income survey data may be used to demonstrate that 51% of the area's LMI and to help demonstrate the need for the proposed activity. In certain cases, the most recent census data can be used to determine and provide evidence of compliance with the LMI area benefit national objective. If it is believed that the data does not accurately reflect the current economic condition of the area, the applicant may conduct an income survey. For more information on income surveys, please reference the 2019 CDBG CFA application guidance. LMC activities. This category provides benefits to a specific group of persons rather than everyone in an area. This often can be used to meet a national objective for public facility projects such as senior centers or daycare centers. LMJ for microenterprise activities, and is based on full-time equivalent jobs created. 51% of all jobs created must benefit LMI persons by being taken by or made available to, or both. Family income forms are required to document household income based on the current HUD income limits. And finally, LMCMC, for microenterprise activities, when the business owner is determined to be LMI themselves. Family income forms and the most recent tax returns are required to document LMI status. The following slides represent eligible public infrastructure activities, which include public water and public sewer projects, public facilities activities, which may include daycare facility projects, community center projects, and senior centers, microenterprise activities, housing, and community planning. Public infrastructure improvements address public water and public sewer improvements. This can include new or improved treatment facilities, installation and replacement of water and sewer lines, and construction of new water tanks. Public infrastructure activities that are considered to be maintenance items, such as dredging or painting of water tanks, are not eligible by themselves. Public facilities can address new or improved fire or emergency response centers, community, healthcare, or senior centers. ADA compliance projects are specifically to address removal of architectural barriers. This is not a comprehensive list. Please contact OCR for project-specific questions. The OCR is proposing to fund community planning again for 2019. Eligible applicants do not need to be 51% low and moderate income to be eligible for community planning. However, the resulting planner report must result in a future application for CDBG assistance that will benefit low and moderate income persons. Community planning does require a minimum 5% cash match in kind, and donated services cannot be used as that match. A microenterprise business is defined as having 5 or fewer employees, including the owner at the time of assistance. Microenterprise projects require a 10% cash match and the completion of an entrepreneurial assistance training course. A minimum of 50% of the CDBG award must be awarded to startup businesses. A startup is defined as a business that's been in operation for fewer than 6 months at the time of application. The traditional economic development and small business programs are offered through an open round format within the CFA portal. These activities do not follow the 2019 CFA schedule, but rather are available throughout the year. Economic development activities must address job creation that can be made available to and are taken by low and moderate income persons and does not require advanced education or training. 51% of all jobs created must be held by or made available to low and moderate income persons. Eligible activities can include infrastructure improvements to assist in development of or expansion of business, construction of new facilities, purchase of equipment, working capital, and inventory. Applicants are strongly encouraged to contact OCR before proceeding with any proposed economic development activity. This is a general list of ineligible activities. Construction of new housing is not eligible. However, activities in support of construction of new housing, such as water, sewer, or utility improvements, may be eligible. Examples of projects that do not meet national objectives would be when the group of proposed beneficiaries are less than 51% low and moderate income persons. So, when in doubt, do not proceed. Simply reach out to OCR to determine if your project is eligible or not. The OCR submits an annual action plan to HUD which reveals the activities the state intends on funding, as well as outlines the maximum funding limits. The next few slides will list those caps by activity. These are the funding limits for infrastructure and facility projects. A project that addresses shared municipal infrastructure may be eligible for up to $900,000. Note that for this funding year, for certain co-funded public infrastructure projects, applicants may apply for an amount of funding not to exceed $1 million or $1,250,000 for shared projects. Co-funded projects are those projects that include other state and or federal sources, including, but not limited to, USDA Rural Development and the New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation, or EFC. In order to qualify for this higher funding threshold, the applicant must clearly demonstrate that other co-funded sources are firmly committed and in place at the time of application. Qualifying documentation includes, for USDA, a letter of condition or LOC, and for New York State EFC, the project must be listed on their intended use plan, and financing applications must have been submitted. For any other sources, please contact the OCR. Note that all qualifying documentation for co-funding must be submitted as an attachment to the CFA. OCR will also allow certain eligible pre-development costs for water or sewer or stormwater projects only. These include pre-development costs necessary to complete the environmental review process. This will encourage projects that are more shovel-ready upon award. These pre-development costs are limited to engineering or design work needed to obtain approval from state or federal agencies, administrative costs incurred consulting with state and federal agencies, permitting activities needed to complete the environmental review record, and or the request for release of funds. This includes addressing State Environmental Quality Review Act, or SEQR, processes and requirements as applicable. Pre-development costs incurred up to 12 months prior to grant award may be eligible for reimbursement. These eligible costs must still meet all CDBG rules and regulations, including procurement and civil rights. Applicants are strongly urged to contact OCR prior to considering incorporating any of these pre-award costs into the project budget to ensure that they are eligible. For economic development activities, at the time of application, the target per job is $15,000 per job. Small business is also limited to for-profit businesses with 25 or fewer full-time equivalent positions at the time of application. Note that if a community has uncommitted New York State CDBG program income acquired after year 2000, it must be returned to the OCR prior to requesting new CDBG funding. The CDBG basics have now been covered, and now it's time to decide if you're ready to apply. This flowchart describes the process the municipality must consider before preparing to submit an application to the OCR. In regards to the public notice and hearing, CDBG requires compliance with the state's Citizen Participation Plan. Each municipality must hold a public hearing prior to the submission of an application that identifies the program year for which funds are applied for. For example, the municipality can schedule and hold a public hearing now that covers all potential CDBG eligible activities for program year 2019. The following slides will provide some basic guidance on the application process itself. This is the list of CDBG eligible activities that must go through the CFA. Again, economic development and small business applications are not subject to the CFA deadlines and are in an open round application process. Those applications can be submitted at any time throughout the year through the CFA portal for economic development and small business assistance only. This screenshot is from the current CFA website. A link to the site is on the next slide. A schedule of workshops and events related to the CFA will be available here at a later date. On this slide, some useful links to help you get started. The following slide provides a list of scoring criteria for reviewing applications. The OCR will use these criteria when assessing and scoring applications. The following are tips for making your way through the application process. On the slide are some very helpful application tips. Please contact OCR with any questions prior to submitting the application through the CFA. The next slide will review common application deficiencies. The single biggest deficiency is that the required public hearing is not held prior to the submission date of the application. This must be a public hearing held by a quorum of the legislative body of the local unit of government. It must be held specific to the program year for which the application is being submitted. Public meetings will not be considered. Hearings must be advertised at least 7 days before it is actually held, with the date of publication day 0. Applications that fail to hold the required public hearing, do not meet a national objective, or submitted by nonprofits, businesses, or individuals are deemed ineligible and will not be reviewed. Other common deficiencies are listed here as well. Again, applicants are strongly encouraged to contact OCR with any questions prior to the deadline. For further program guidance, the following slides will provide useful links and contact information. Please submit questions regarding any of this guidance, hcr_CFA@nyshcr.org. Please check the link on the slide for updates to the HUD income limits for 2019. This list provides a brief description of other program requirements that may need to be met. Please note all recipients of CDBG funds are required to address affirmatively furthering fair housing, and that this applies to all activity types. Again, please submit all questions to hcr_CFA@nyshcr.org.